Special education is instruction designed to meet the unique needs of each child with a disability. For example, a child with autism may need special curriculum, while a child who is deaf and uses sign language may need an in-class interpreter. In 1975, Congress passed what is now known as the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, or IDEA. This law guarantees all children a free and appropriate public education, including any services they require due to disability. IDEA sets up a three-step process for determining if a child needs special education. First, schools must try to meet the student's needs in a typical classroom setting. Second, if a child is struggling and may need special support, their parents and teachers may ask for a comprehensive learning evaluation. This will determine whether the child has a disability, and, if so, whether that disability interferes with their learning. Children who meet both of these criteria qualify for special education. Third, each child that qualifies for special education receives an Individual Education Plan, or IEP. At least once a year, the child's parents, teachers, and school administrators meet to decide which services the child needs. These are then spelled out in a legal document guaranteeing the child a right to those services.
Your homework. Can you write your name, class?
Yeah.
Okay. Later I give you Pocky.
Milk. Uncle the bed.
Okay, later. One Pocky, one word. Okay? Okay? Pocky.
My name is Amanda. I am a mother of 3 kids.
Come. Easy one. Don't do that. You have to do your homework, Andre. Okay, tomorrow I bring you go shopping. Okay.
Andre is my elder son. He is 7 years old. He is diagnosed with autism. Whenever I say do homework, he will cry, he will scream, and he will melt down, try to roll on the sofa, just refuse to do his homework. But whenever I'm firm to him, I'm stern to him, he will still listen.
Okay, no matter what, you still have to do your work. You have to submit to your teacher.
So after some times tolerating his meltdown, then he will slowly drag his feet to do his homework. My second son is Anders. He is 4 years old. And my third child is a daughter. Her name is Angelia. When we suspected Andrick is autistic, I actually quit my normal job and then moved into real estate. So my timing is more flexible. It was quite traumatic for us because we didn't know what is autism about. That time I feel quite helpless. At that moment, I was also pregnant with my second child. It was a bit difficult to manage my emotion at that point of time.
Andre, wakey wakey. Don't do that. Come. Let's go to school already. Come. Hold hand. Hold hand.
MG, go.
Hold hand.
Wait.
Good job. Let's go. Brush your teeth. Okay, let's go.
Definitely having Andrick, who is autistic, actually gave me a lot of different perspective of bringing up a child. So comparing to my other kid who is neurotypical, there's a very big difference on the upbringing. And for Andrick, I have to especially spend more time with him and those little things that a normal child can do well, I have to spend more time to actually get him to do the same thing. Autistic traits that Andric has includes no eye contact, doesn't respond to his names. Last year when he was 6 years old, I applied for Pathlight. Yeah, just like normal kids, 7 years old, they enter into primary school. What is this? Can you tell me what is this?
Flight school.
Are you excited?
Excited.
Excited?
Excited.
Pathlight is known to be a good autism school. They have a lot of experience in handling autism kids. And of course, it's a mainstream curriculum school as well. Yes, good job. Don't walk away. Huh? Where's your hand? Early in the morning, he has to wake up around 6:30 to change into his uniform, prepare to school. Then I'll ask him to fold back his home clothes. Fold your clothes. Later, after school, you wear back, okay? Fold. Initially, we need to teach him a few times. I'm hoping to see that he can actually do all these things by himself and be ready for school.
My mom's coming over for lunch today, so I guess I had to clean up first. She usually would not like to see a messy house. I have been living on my own for a little more than a year now. Before I moved out, I was very reliant on the maid because I wanted the maid to do all the dirty work for me. I was very angry when I had to do chores on my own. Unfortunately, I had to slowly learn how to do things myself. Oh, Mom.
What are you doing?
Just cleaning the house.
I bought you lunch.
Yeah, sure.
You just woke up.
Yeah.
Hungry, eh? Come. Hi, I'm Mary. Marcus is the eldest of my 4 children. He's a high-functioning autistic adult. He moved out because he had some problems with his stepfather, and I couldn't put the two of them together under one household. Was it stressful? I think so. Huh? The main complaints were his late turning in to bed. He confines himself in the room. He always has his gadget in front of him. And Marcus has this habit to draw in the air, talk to himself. The stepdad, his patience was a bit short. So after a while, he just couldn't take that kind of behavior because it's not just a bad habit that we're trying to manage here. Marcus feels that whatever I'm doing, as long as I'm comfortable, I'm fine. But he just doesn't care about what other people think. In the end, the stepdad got upset after a while because when Marcus starts doing that same mistake again and again and again, the stepdad thought of a solution, which is basically to penalize him by charging him for every mistake he made. It pushed Marcus beyond the limit, and he felt so pressured to the extent that he just had a meltdown. On one of the days, I was nagging at Marcus for staying too long in front of the computer. And then there was some argument between me and him, and then my husband stepped in, and then both of them started quarreling. Marcus started to get agitated.
I felt very angry that he refused to understand. I felt that I should deserve special treatment, but he thought that nobody deserves special treatment.
Then there was some physical struggle between the two of them.
I don't know how that got into a fight, but one thing led to another.
My husband, he pushed Marcus.
And I actually pointed the scissors at him.
And he was accused of trying to threaten my husband with the scissors. And then I had no choice. I had to call the police. We also called the ambulance, bring Marcus to IMH. The doctor actually said there's nothing wrong with your son. He's calm, he's well, he's okay, you can bring him back. I explained, I cannot bring him back. I need him to stay away from the house for the time being. And they agreed and allowed Marcus to stay in IMH for about 3 days.
I was lost. I couldn't do anything. I was very angry.
I was caught in between. One is my son, one is my husband. It was very difficult for me to decide who I should support. I think I made a mistake by supporting my husband too much. And I didn't consider Marcus' feelings. So at one point of time when the relationship was really bad between,
Because of monetary concerns, I didn't want to move out. But I know that having my own place would definitely be mentally better for me.
From my husband's side, I think the expectation is still there that he will not make it. Because he's staying on his own. One of the things I worry is if he falls sick, there's no one to care for him. That's actually my biggest concern, especially with COVID. He refuses to get vaccinated. Huh? You don't want to take your vaccine, really?
I told you I think I shouldn't be taking the vaccine.
I book for you.
No.
Huh?
I'll cancel if you book. Everybody else is vaccinated and I'm not because of my own beliefs, and unfortunately their beliefs are different from mine.
What about the non-mRNA?
And I still had to wait and
Go for
see.
the vaccine. Go for the vaccine, and then after that, you're free to do everything that you want to.
Yeah, but at the expense of my body having side effects and all that. I'd rather not take that chance. Not getting vaccinated does not affect my work because it's mostly at home based.
You go for the non-mRNA one. He's been reading about the damages that it can do to your health. I think it's his ASD that keeps him determined not to get vaccinated because he believes in what he reads.
I'm an adult. I think I should be making my own health decisions and doing my own research. I make my own informed decision. That would be it.
When I was younger, I had a special cousin. He was a year older than I was, and we had the best time together. He was my best friend. He helped me learn to be a kinder and more empathetic person. He made me a better person. Chris has Fragile X syndrome. It is like autism, but it's genetic. It is the most significant genetic cause of autistic traits. There is a science bit about chromosomes and proteins and heredity. It is complicated, but that is not important for my purposes. Growing up, I just knew Chris as a kind, gentle person who saw things and learned very differently than I did. Chris loved to go on adventures with me. He loved the water and to go swimming. Chris loved trains and insects. I knew he was different from most of my friends and family members, but as a little kid, I liked that. I thought being different made a kid cool. As I grew up, I understood what it was that made Chris different. There were specific learning challenges that he faced that most of us did not. When Chris was anxious or really excited, his hands would flap, and he sometimes even would sort of hop up and down, like he had springs in his feet. Uncle Toby and Aunt Kate said he was going to fly away. Chris and Mir were my favorite cousins, and they were the ones that we spent the most time with. They were really more like another brother and sister, except that they were closer to my age, and therefore more enjoyable to be around than my sister Ernesto, at least until she was about 5. In high school, I understood that there were a lot of kids with special needs. Some of those kids were in my classroom. I was used to this because I had grown up with kids with special needs in my classes, and of course, I had my favorite cousin, Chris. Having kids with special needs in our classrooms was called inclusion. I understood that. It made sense that everyone should be included to the best of their abilities and be given the help that they needed. So, when we got a new kid in my classroom named Chad, I didn't think anything about it. Chad was quiet. He also seemed very organized. The way Chad's book bag looked made me look willy-nilly. Chad wiggled his feet a lot. Chad reminded me of Chris. He had an aide that sat in the back of the classroom. I knew what a one-on-one support was for. Chris had one that went to school with him. I understood that the aide was there to help him with whatever his needs were. I was not the only student who understood this. Alex had a younger brother with special needs. She always had her brother Ben come over whenever Chris and Mir visited. And of course, there were the kids who didn't understand. And they could always be counted on for showing off their ignorance like a shiny Medal of Honor.
Alex is in grade 11 and has been identified as an exceptional student since they were in elementary school. Exceptionalities are categories of special needs that affect how a student learns. Alex and their father attend their annual review meeting with the Identification, Placement, and Review Committee, often called the IPRC. In this meeting, they'll decide if their current category of exceptionality in school placement setting are continuing to meet Alex's learning needs. There are 5 categories of exceptionalities. The exceptionalities are defined as behavioral, communication, intellectual, physical, or multiple. Students who do not fit within one of these categories of exceptionality can still receive special education services. In the meeting, the IPRC will also decide whether to keep Alex in their current placement setting. There is a range of placement setting options, from remaining in the regular classroom with support to a full-time special education class. The IPRC can also refer the student to one of the provincial and demonstration schools for students who are deaf, blind or low vision, deafblind, or have severe learning disabilities. Placements are decided based on the student's exceptionalities as well as their individual learning needs. This ensures Alex, and every student with special education needs, is set up for success. To learn more, visit us at jfcy.org.